Ladies and gentlemen, focus is the key to achieving greatness. But focus does not just happen by accident. It is a result of intentional living, a deliberate commitment to your purpose, and the unwavering discipline to maintain clarity in the midst of life's chaos. Let me tell you this, focus begins with purpose. Purpose is your internal compass, your guiding light. When you know your why, distractions become irrelevant. Your purpose becomes your shield, protecting you from every force that would attempt to divert your attention. If you do not know where you're going, how can you expect to stay on track? Purpose gives direction, and focus fuels the journey. But purpose alone is not enough. Discipline is the foundation. Discipline is the muscle that keeps you moving when the road gets tough. It's easy to say you want to achieve something, but it's the discipline to stay the course, day after day, that will carry you through. Focus is a muscle that gets stronger with practice. The more disciplined you are, the sharper your focus becomes. We live in a world where we are constantly bombarded by distractions, messages, notifications, demands from others. Each one is a potential thief of your attention. Guard your mind, protect it fiercely from the things that seek to weaken your resolve. You must be intentional about what you allow in, for what enters your mind will eventually determine your actions. Now, let's talk about the cost of distraction. Distractions are costly, not just in terms of time, but in lost opportunities and momentum. The price you pay for losing focus is far greater than you can imagine. Every moment you allow your mind to wander from your purpose is a moment you'll never get back. Focus, on the other hand, is an investment in your future. Every minute spent focusing on what matters is a building block for your destiny. Clarity is the partner of focus. When your vision is clear, distractions lose their power over you. You will know exactly where you need to go, and your steps will be deliberate. It's like having a clear map. Without it, you'll be wandering aimlessly. But with it, every turn you make brings you closer to your destination. One of the most practical ways to stay focused is to set clear, actionable goals. Focus thrives on specificity. Break your dreams into smaller, manageable tasks. When you focus on one task at a time, you prevent overwhelm and ensure steady progress. Focus on the task, not the outcome, and the results will follow. Let's talk about consistency. Focus is not a fleeting burst of energy. It's a habit, a daily practice. The results you seek will come from consistent effort, not occasional bursts of intensity. It's the small, steady actions taken every single day that compound to produce extraordinary results. Focus requires repetition, doing the right things over and over again until the goal is achieved. But no journey is without obstacles. There will be moments when the road seems steep and the challenges seem insurmountable. But overcoming obstacles is part of the process. Focus doesn't mean an easy path. It means a relentless determination to stay on course despite the hurdles. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to strengthen your focus and sharpen your resolve. Remember, you are the sum of the people you surround yourself with. If you want to stay focused, surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and encourage you to stay on track. Your environment plays a crucial role in maintaining your focus. Choose wisely whom you give access to your time and energy. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Focus is about progress, not perfection. Every small victory, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a step toward your greater goal. Celebrate these moments, for they will fuel your journey and remind you that your efforts are not in vain. Focus is not just about keeping your attention on a single task. It's about aligning your mind, your actions, and your environment with your purpose. It's about choosing every single day to remain disciplined, clear, and unwavering in the pursuit of your goals. It is the power that transforms dreams into reality. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and watch how your life begins to align with the greatness that's already inside you. Focus begins with an understanding of purpose. Without purpose, we are like ships adrift at sea, tossed by the waves of circumstances, winds of external influences, and currents of distractions. Purpose is the anchor that holds us steady, even when the storms of life threaten to throw us off course. When you have a clear sense of purpose, every decision, every action, and every moment becomes meaningful. It gives you direction and clarity, making it easier to stay focused because you know exactly what you're working toward. Imagine a person with a strong sense of purpose. They don't waste time second-guessing their path or worrying about trivial matters. They understand that each step they take is aligned with something greater than themselves, a vision that drives them forward with determination and resilience. On the other hand, someone who lacks purpose can easily be distracted, constantly searching for meaning and direction, often bouncing from one thing to the next without ever truly committing to anything. When you have purpose, distractions lose their power over you. They don't seem as important because your eyes are fixed on the prize and nothing will pull you off track. Purpose is what ignites passion and fuels persistence. It is not just about achieving a specific goal, but about living in alignment with your deepest values, your most authentic self. When you connect with your purpose, you tap into a well of energy that is inexhaustible. You begin to see the world through the lens of your mission, and every action you take feels intentional and aligned with that mission. This is why purpose is the foundation for focus. When you understand your purpose, everything you do serves that larger vision, and your focus becomes sharper, more unwavering. This deep connection to purpose also helps you endure the inevitable challenges that will come your way. When setbacks arise, and they will, a person with purpose remains rooted. They can weather the difficulties because they understand that the obstacles they face are just part of the journey. Their purpose gives them perspective. It helps them to see that what they're going through is temporary, but the rewards of staying true to their purpose are lasting. When you're aligned with your purpose, you're less likely to be discouraged by temporary struggles. Instead, you learn from them, grow through them, and remain focused on what lies ahead. Purpose is not just about setting a goal or achieving something for the sake of success. It is about why you do what you do. Purpose gives your actions meaning. It's the difference between working because you have to and working because you are called to. A deep, clear sense of purpose brings fulfillment, even in the midst of hard work. It makes every effort feel significant. And that significance fuels the strength to stay focused. Purpose isn't just something you say you have. It's something you live every single day in every action you take. When your purpose is clear, you become immune to the noise and distractions that so often derail others. It's as if you have a built-in filter that helps you prioritize what really matters. Every decision becomes easier because it's measured against the standard of your purpose. You ask yourself, does this move me closer to my goal? Is this in alignment with my vision? If the answer is no, it falls away, no matter how tempting or urgent it may seem. Purpose is the driving force that keeps you focused not just for a day, a week, or a month, but for a lifetime. It gives you the fortitude to stay the course, even when the path is unclear or the road is hard. When you understand and live by your purpose, you have the power to stay focused, no matter what life throws your way. Your purpose isn't just a reason to stay focused. It is the reason you can't afford to lose focus. Discipline is the cornerstone upon which focus is built. Without discipline, focus is merely a fleeting thought or momentary burst of energy. Discipline is what transforms intent into action and action into results. It's not enough to simply want something. You must be willing to do the work required to achieve it. And that work demands discipline. Discipline is the ability to make decisions consistently, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's difficult, and even when there are more appealing distractions around you. The true power of discipline lies in its ability to create consistency. It's the daily commitment to doing what needs to be done, even when the rewards aren't immediate or visible. It's choosing the long-term benefits over short-term pleasures. Understanding that each small, disciplined action is a step towards something greater. Without this level of consistency, focus becomes fragmented and easily lost. Discipline helps to keep you on course, to continue when others may falter, and to ensure that every effort you put forth is moving you closer to your goals. At its core, discipline is about self-therapy. It's the ability to say no to things that do not align with your purpose and to stay committed to your path, even when the allure of other options is strong. It's about pushing through resistance and doing what needs to be done, even when your mind or body wants to take the easy way out. Discipline means creating habits, routines, and structures that support your focus so that over time, those actions become automatic, and staying on track no longer requires constant willpower. Discipline also brings structure to your life. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks and responsibilities that life throws at you. Without discipline, it's easy to jump from one thing to the next without ever truly completing anything. Discipline provides the framework for tackling your most important task first, and it helps you break them down into manageable pieces. When you are disciplined, you prioritize, organize, and execute with precision. Your focus is no longer scattered across a dozen different projects. Instead, it's channeled into the one thing that will move you forward. Discipline is not just about the ability to work hard. It's also about knowing when to rest, when to step back, and when to recharge. The disciplined individual understands that rest is an essential part of progress. The balance between work and rest, between pushing forward and stepping back, is key to maintaining sustainable focus. Without discipline, it's easy to become consumed by work and burn out. But with discipline, you can create a rhythm that maximizes both productivity and rest, ensuring that your focus remains sharp over the long haul. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is that it builds momentum. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. It may be difficult at first, but as you continue to apply effort, the process becomes easier. Each small action that you take with discipline creates momentum. And before long, that momentum will carry you. You no longer have to rely solely on motivation, which can be fickle and unreliable. Instead, discipline becomes the driving force that propels you forward, even on days when motivation is absent. True discipline doesn't just happen in isolated moments. It's a lifestyle. It's the decision to stay committed to your goals, no matter how challenging, day in and day out. It's about setting standards for yourself and holding yourself accountable to them, even when no one is watching. The disciplined person understands that results are the product of consistent, small efforts, compounded over time. Ultimately, discipline is the difference between dreaming and doing. Anyone can have a vision, a goal, or a dream, but it takes discipline to turn that vision into reality. Discipline is what fuels your focus, ensuring that every effort you make is deliberate and aligned with your purpose. It is what keeps you on track, even when obstacles arise or when the path ahead seems uncertain. Without discipline, focus is nothing more than a wish. With discipline, focus becomes an unstoppable force that propels you toward the fulfillment of your purpose. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess. It is the source of your thoughts, your ideas, your actions, and ultimately your reality. The thoughts you entertain shape the life you experience. For what you think about constantly influences what you believe, what you value, and how you act. If your mind is unguarded, if it is allowed to wander aimlessly, it becomes vulnerable to negative influences that can distort your perception and derail your focus. The state of your mind is the state of your life. Therefore, guarding your mind is one of the most important steps you can take to maintain focus and to ensure you are aligned with your highest purpose. Your thoughts are not passive. They are active agents that influence your behavior. Negative, limiting thoughts, doubt, fear, worry, or insecurity can prevent you from seeing opportunities, block your creativity, and drain your energy. When you let such thoughts take root in your mind, they cloud your judgment and make it difficult to focus on what truly matters. That's why it's essential to protect your mind from these intrusions. Like a gatekeeper, you must decide which thoughts are allowed to enter and which ones must be shut out. You cannot afford to entertain thoughts that weaken your resolve or pull you away from your goals. Guarding your mind means being intentional about what you expose yourself to. The media you consume, the people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, all of these things have an impact on your mental state. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether from the news, social media, or toxic individuals, your mind will absorb that negativity. It will become harder to stay focused on your own vision because the noise around you will drown out your inner clarity. Therefore, you must be selective about what you allow to influence your thoughts. Fill your mind with content that inspires, educates, and challenges you to grow. Seek out people who uplift you and challenge you to become better, not those who drag you down or feed you discouragement. Your mind is also shaped by your own inner dialogue. How you speak to yourself matters deeply. If your internal conversation is full of self-criticism, doubt, and negativity, then you are subconsciously reinforcing those limiting beliefs. On the other hand, when you cultivate a positive, constructive inner dialogue, you empower yourself to stay focused and resilient even in the face of difficulties. Remind yourself of your strengths, acknowledge your progress, and replace thoughts of limitation with thoughts of possibility. Self-talk is one of the most powerful tools for either building or breaking your focus. Be vigilant in guarding your inner words, for they shape your reality. Another important aspect of guarding your mind is recognizing that not all thoughts require your attention. In fact, many of the thoughts we experience are fleeting and irrelevant. The key is not to become overly attached to every thought that passes through your mind. A thought doesn't become your reality unless you give it power, unless you dwell on it and allow it to dictate your emotions or actions. Be mindful of the thoughts you choose to entertain. and practice the art of letting go of those that are not aligned with your goals. When you learn to detach from thoughts that are not serving you, you free up mental space for clarity, focus, and creativity. Part of guarding your mind is also protecting it from overwhelm. In a world that is constantly demanding your attention, it's easy to become mentally exhausted. Too much information, too many demands, too many choices. This mental clutter can quickly lead to confusion and lack of focus. To protect your mind, you must create boundaries around how much external information you allow to enter. Limit distractions and carve out time for focused work. In doing so, you allow your mind the space it needs to think clearly and work efficiently without being pulled in a dozen directions at once. Guarding your mind also means protecting it from fear and doubt. These two forces are often the greatest threats to your focus. Fear will tell you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you should quit before you even begin. Doubt will make you question every decision, every step you take. But the truth is, fear and doubt are just thoughts. Thoughts that you can choose not to believe. To guard your mind, you must recognize these thoughts for what they are: fleeting, untrue, and powerless unless you give them authority. Instead, replace them with thoughts of courage, conviction, and faith in your ability to succeed. In addition to the external influences and internal dialogue, your mind must be guarded against complacency and mental laziness. Focus requires active engagement and sustained attention. It's easy to fall into patterns of procrastination or to become distracted by trivial things. The discipline to stay mentally sharp, to remain focused on the task at hand, requires constant vigilance. It's about choosing to remain present and engaged, even when it's tempting to disengage or get lost in daydreams. Guarding your mind means keeping it sharp, focused, and ready to perform. It's important to remember that guarding your mind is an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and forget about. It's a daily commitment. Your mind, like a garden, needs constant tending. You must continually prune away negative thoughts, weeds of doubt, and distractions that hinder your growth. At the same time, you must nurture your mind with positive input, affirmations, and clarity that aligns with your purpose. By doing so, you create a mental environment where focus can thrive and your ability to stay aligned with your goals becomes more natural and effortless. When you guard your mind, you create a mental space where focus can flourish. Your thoughts no longer wander aimlessly. Instead, they are guided by intention, discipline, and clarity. You free yourself from the noise, the distractions, and the internal chatter that so often pulls you off course. By protecting your mind, you ensure that your focus remains sharp, your purpose remains clear, and your actions are always aligned with the vision you have for your life. Distraction is one of the most subtle yet powerful forces in our lives. It doesn't always come in the form of major obstacles or crises. Often it comes in the form of small, seemingly harmless interruptions that gradually erode our time, energy, and focus. It's like a thief that sneaks in, slowly taking what we don't even realize we've lost until it's too late. The cost of distraction is far greater than we often acknowledge. And its impact ripples through every area of our lives, affecting not only our productivity, but also our mental clarity, emotional well-being, and long-term success. The first and most obvious cost of distraction is the loss of time. Time, once spent, is gone forever. Every moment that slips by without intentional focus is a moment that can never be regained. In today's fast-paced world where distractions are so easily accessible, whether through social media, constant notifications, or the demands of other people, time slips away like sand through our fingers. It's easy to get caught in the illusion that these moments don't matter. After all, a quick glance at your phone or a brief chat with a friend doesn't seem like a major interruption, right? But when you add up all those moments over the course of a day, a week, or a year, you realize how much precious time has been lost to distractions. And time is not the only thing you lose to distraction. You also lose your energy. When you're constantly pulled in different directions, your mental and emotional energy becomes fragmented. Every time you switch focus from one task to another, your brain has to adjust, recalibrate, and regain its momentum. This mental switching is exhausting. It's like trying to run a race while continuously stopping and starting again. You may feel like you're busy, but you're not making progress. Your energy is dissipated into multiple tasks that aren't aligned with your goals, leaving you feeling drained, overwhelmed, and unproductive. Distraction saps your vitality, and the more you give into it, the less energy you have for the things that truly matter. Distraction costs you clarity. When you are constantly bouncing from one thing to the next, your mind becomes cluttered. You lose the ability to think clearly, to make decisions with confidence, and to prioritize effectively. Your goals become blurry, and your sense of direction fades. Distractions create mental noise. And when your mind is filled with this noise, you cannot focus on what's important. Clarity requires sustained attention. And without it, you are left adrift, reacting to whatever comes your way rather than proactively shaping your future. The cost of distraction also manifests in missed opportunities. Success doesn't come from what we do occasionally. It comes from what we do consistently. When you are distracted, you miss the chance to build momentum, to take advantage of key opportunities, or to respond in the right way at the right time. Opportunities don't wait around for you to get your focus back. They come and go in the blink of an eye. A moment of distraction may mean missing a phone call, forgetting to send an email, or failing to take action when the right opportunity presents itself. Opportunities are fleeting, and distractions steal them from us, often without us realizing until the moment has passed. Perhaps the most insidious cost of distraction is the way it undermines our sense of accomplishment. When we're constantly distracted, we rarely feel like we're getting anything done. We move from one unfinished task to another, leaving behind a trail of half-completed projects. This lack of closure breeds frustration and dissatisfaction. At the end of the day, we may look back and realize we were busy, but we weren't productive. The feeling of accomplishment comes from completing tasks that move us closer to our goals, not from staying perpetually occupied. Distraction keeps us in a state of constant motion without ever reaching our destination. Distraction also erodes our self-discipline. The more we give in to distractions, the weaker our ability to stay focused becomes. It's like any muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, but when you neglect it, it becomes weak and atrophied. Every time you allow yourself to be distracted, you are reinforcing the habit of giving in to temptation, the habit of procrastination, and the habit of avoiding discomfort. Over time, this habit becomes ingrained, and it becomes harder and harder to summon the self-mentrain needed to stay focused on the things that truly matter. Another hidden cost of distraction is the impact it has on our relationships. When you are distracted by your phone, work, or other external pressures, you are not fully present with the people around you. Distractions steal your attention, and in doing so, They rob you of the ability to connect deeply with others. Whether it's a conversation with a loved one, a meeting with a colleague, or time spent with friends, your ability to engage and listen diminishes when you're constantly divided. Relationships require presence, and distraction creates a barrier to that presence. Over time, this can lead to feelings of disconnection. Distraction also carries a financial cost. When you are distracted, your productivity decreases and your efficiency suffers. Whether you're running a business or working in a job, distraction means wasted time and reduced output. The result is often missed deadlines, lower quality work, and missed opportunities for career advancement or business growth. Distraction takes you away from the tasks that generate income, build your skills, or move your projects forward. In a competitive world, those who stay focused on what matters are the ones who rise to the top. The cost of distraction is often a loss of fulfillment. Fulfillment doesn't come from staying busy. It comes from making progress toward meaningful goals. Distraction keeps us in a state of perpetual motion, but without direction. It tricks us into believing that we are doing something worthwhile when in fact we are simply passing time. True fulfillment comes from sustained effort towards something that aligns with your values and your purpose. Distraction prevents that effort, and as a result, we can find ourselves feeling unfulfilled despite our busyness. In the end, the cost of distraction is immeasurable. It steals your time, your energy, your opportunities, and your peace of mind. It erodes your relationships, undermines your productivity, and prevents you from achieving the success and fulfillment you seek. Distraction might seem harmless in the moment, but its consequences are far-reaching. The price you pay for each moment of distraction is a piece of your potential, your focus, your progress, and your future. Guard against it and recognize that every moment spent in focus is an investment in your success, your happiness, and your life's purpose. Clarity is the compass that guides us toward our goals, the lens through which we view our purpose and direction. Without clarity, focus becomes a scattered effort, a flickering light in the dark that can never shine long enough to guide us. When your vision is clear, your mind is sharp, and your actions become deliberate, clarity doesn't just help you know where you're going, it simplifies the journey. It cuts through the confusion and noise, making it possible to see what truly matters and what doesn't. With clarity, focus naturally follows because you know exactly what you need to do, and the distractions that once seemed so enticing now appear insignificant in comparison. Without clarity, we become like wanderers lost in a fog, unsure of which way to turn or what to do next. In such a state, it's easy to fall prey to the endless distractions of life, chasing after things that ultimately do not align with our true goals. A lack of clarity leaves room for indecision, hesitation, and wasted effort. You might find yourself working hard, but not making meaningful progress, simply because your energy is spread across too many different directions. But when you are clear about what you want, your energy can be directed with precision. Each step you take is purposeful and aligned with your vision, and suddenly, the path forward becomes much easier to navigate. Clarity also helps us avoid the trap of overwhelm. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information, tasks, and demands, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything that needs to be done. But when your goals are clear and well defined, you can break them down into manageable steps. You know where to begin, what to prioritize, and what can wait. Clarity allows you to see the forest from the trees, to understand that you don't have to do everything all at once. Empowers you to focus on what's most important right now, while trusting that everything else will fall into place as you continue moving forward. When you know where you're headed, the journey feels less daunting, and your focus remains strong. Clarity also provides the confidence to make decisions. When your goals are clear, every decision you face becomes easier because you can measure each option against your larger vision. You no longer waste time debating between different choices or second-guessing yourself because you already know what serves your purpose and what doesn't. Whether it's deciding how to spend your time, whom to associate with, or where to direct your energy, clarity helps you make decisions with certainty and conviction. You trust your choices because they are aligned with your vision, and you can move forward without hesitation or regret. Clarity aligns your mind, emotions, and actions. When you're unclear about what you want, your mind is in a constant state of conflict. One part of you may want to pursue one thing while another part is distracted by something else. This internal discord leads to frustration, procrastination, and lack of focus. But clarity creates harmony between your thoughts and your actions. When you are clear about your purpose, everything in you, your heart, mind, and body, works together in unison, propelling you toward your goal. You stop wasting energy on internal conflicts, and your focus becomes sharp and unwavering. Clarity also helps you understand your priorities. It's easy to get caught up in what's urgent rather than what's important. Many of us fall into the trap of responding to the loudest or most immediate demands, leaving the long-term meaningful goals to get pushed aside. But with clarity, you can see what really deserves your attention. You can discern between the things that need to be done now and those that can wait. And you can dedicate your energy to the tasks that will move you closer to your true purpose. Clarity helps you resist the temptation to be busy for the sake of being busy, and instead guides you to focus on the actions that will have the greatest impact on your future. To give you a number of examples, 9 out of 10 companies that are trying to grow fast give up on their growth. In addition, clarity frees you from the burden of comparison. When you don't have a clear sense of direction, it's easy to compare yourself to others, to measure your success against their progress. This can lead to self-doubt, jealousy, and even feelings of inadequacy. But when you are clear about your own goals, you stop looking around at what others are doing. Clarity gives you the confidence to walk your own path without worrying about who is ahead or behind you. You focus solely on your own journey, and your energy is spent on what truly matters to you. Clarity also provides the foundation for resilience. When obstacles arise, and they inevitably will, you will have the mental strength to push through them because your vision is clear. When you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing, setbacks feel less like insurmountable barriers and more like temporary challenges to overcome. Clarity connects you to the deeper why behind your actions, giving you the strength to persist when things get tough. Your focus becomes a shield against discouragement because you are anchored in your purpose. The process of gaining clarity often requires reflection and self-awareness. It's not something that happens overnight or by accident. It requires deep introspection and honest look at your desires, your values, and your goals. It takes time to sift through the noise and get clear on what truly matters. But once you gain that clarity, it's transformative. Your vision becomes the lens through which you filter every decision, every task, and every moment of your day. It provides a sense of certainty even in uncertain times, and it enables you to stay focused even when distractions are abundant. When your purpose is clear, staying focused becomes less of a struggle. You are no longer chasing after every new idea, opportunity, or distraction that comes your way. Instead, You are like a laser beam, directed and unyielding, cutting through the clutter and staying aligned with your goal. Clarity doesn't just breed focus, it sustains it. The clearer your vision, the less likely you are to be swayed by fleeting temptations or external pressures. Your focus is grounded in a deep understanding of what you're working toward, and every action you take becomes a step in the direction of your purpose. Clarity truly is the foundation of focus. It is the starting point from which all productivity, growth, and achievement stem. When you are clear about where you're going, the path forward becomes obvious, and distractions no longer have the power to pull you away. With clarity, you become unstoppable, and focus becomes a natural, effortless extension of your vision. Setting clear goals is the foundation for creating the life you desire. Without well-demonified goals, your efforts become scattered and aimless, like a ship drifting on the ocean without a compass. The clarity that comes from setting goals provides direction, purpose, and a roadmap to success. Clear goals are the stepping stones that guide you from where you are to where you want to be. They give you something to focus on, something to strive for, and they serve as the measure of your progress. When you set clear goals, you're not just hoping for things to happen, you are taking ownership of your future. Goals are the result of intentional decision making. They are your declaration to the universe that you know what you want and are committed to making it a reality. A clear goal has specific, tangible elements that make it actionable. Without this specificity, your goal remains a vague wish. And wishing is not a strategy. Goals need to be grounded in the real world with a defined outcome and a clear plan to achieve it. If your goal is to get better at something without any defined measure or timeline, you may end up feeling lost or unsure of whether you're making progress. Clear goals break down larger, overwhelming desires into manageable steps. For example, if your goal is to lose weight, rather than just saying, I want to get fit, a clearer goal would be, I will lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months by exercising 3 times a week and eating a balanced diet. This goal is specific, measurable, and actionable. It gives you a clear picture of what success looks like and provides a tangible plan to get there. The process of setting clear goals transforms your aspirations from abstract dreams into concrete milestones. Each milestone becomes a building block on your path to achievement, and you can track your progress along the way. Setting clear goals also helps you prioritize your actions. In life, we often face competing demands for our time and attention. It's easy to become distracted by tasks and projects that seem urgent, but are not necessarily aligned with our true objectives. Having clear goals allows you to filter out the noise and focus on what matters most. You can assess every opportunity, request, and task based on whether it brings you closer to your goal or takes you off course. When your goals are clear, you have a guide for your time, energy, and resources. You stop reacting to whatever comes your way and start making intentional choices based on your priorities. Goals also give you the motivation to keep going, especially when the going gets tough. The journey toward any significant goal is rarely smooth. Challenges will arise, obstacles will appear, and you will encounter moments of doubt or discouragement. However, when your goal is clearly defined, you can stay focused on the outcome, which serves as a source of inspiration. A clear goal helps you push through the difficult times, reminding you of the bigger picture and why you started in the first place. In moments of struggle, it's easy to forget why you're putting in the effort. But when the goal is crystal clear, you can reconnect with a deeper why behind your actions and stay committed. Clear goals help you develop a sense of purpose and direction in your life. Without goals, life can feel like a series of random events with no clear path forward. When you set specific goals, you are essentially creating a roadmap for your future. Each goal is a milestone, and each step you take brings you closer to realizing your vision. This sense of purpose becomes an anchor, giving you stability in times of uncertainty. It helps you say no to things that don't serve your vision and stay true to the course you've set for yourself. The process of setting clear goals also cultivates discipline. It's easy to be distracted by immediate desires or temptations when you don't have a clear goal. Without a specific target to reach, you may give in to procrastination, laziness, or impulsiveness. Clear goals, however, provide structure and accountability. They require you to take consistent, focused action. Every day you choose to work towards your goals, you're reinforcing your discipline. You're building the habit of taking intentional action, of putting in the work even when you don't feel like it, because you know that every small step moves you closer to your desired outcome. When you set clear goals, you also create a sense of accomplishment. There is a deep satisfaction that comes from knowing exactly what you're working toward and seeing yourself make progress. Every time you accomplish a small milestone or take a meaningful step toward your goal, you get a sense of fulfillment that propels you to keep going. This sense of progress is incredibly motivating. It fuels your determination and drives you to continue pushing forward. It's not just about the big final result. It's about recognizing and celebrating each step along the way. Clear goals also make it easier to make adjustments when things don't go as planned. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes things won't unfold exactly as you envision. But when you have clear goals, you have a solid foundation from which to pivot. You know what you're working toward, so if you hit a setback or encounter an obstacle, you can assess the situation, adjust your approach, and continue moving forward with a new strategy. Without clear goals, it's much harder to know whether you're making the right changes or whether you're just reacting in a way that feels like movement without actual progress. Clear goals allow you to measure your success. Success is subjective, and without specific goals, it's hard to determine whether you've achieved anything meaningful. When you set clear, measurable goals, you can track your progress, see where you've succeeded, and recognize areas for improvement. This sense of measurement helps you stay accountable to yourself and to others, and it also provides the opportunity to celebrate your achievements. Whether it's the completion of a project, reaching a financial target, or accomplishing a personal milestone, clear goals provide the benchmarks that allow you to measure your growth and feel proud of your progress. The act of setting clear goals isn't just about achieving something. It's about aligning your life with your deepest desires and values. It's about creating a life that's driven by purpose and intention. When you know what you want and why you want it, your focus becomes laser sharp. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your vision, and you start pouring your energy into the things that truly matter. Clear goals act as a filter, helping you make better decisions, take meaningful actions, and ultimately live a life that is both fulfilling and productive. When you set clear goals, you take control of your destiny. You shift from being a passive observer of your life to an active participant. You stop waiting for things to happen and begin making things happen. Goals create the framework for your actions, and every step you take brings you closer to the life you envision. Clear goals breed clarity, focus, and ultimately success. They are not just something to aspire to, they are the map to the life you are meant to create. Consistency is the silent force behind achievement. It is the quiet, daily commitment to showing up, to taking action and to putting in the work, regardless of whether you feel motivated or not. It's easy to be inspired when everything is going well, or when the excitement of a new goal or project fills you with energy. But real progress happens not in the bursts of enthusiasm that come in the beginning, but in the sustained effort over time. Consistency is not about doing something perfectly every time. It's about doing it repeatedly with commitment and discipline day after day. When you commit to consistency, you are engaging in a powerful habit, one that compounds over time. The efforts you make today may not show immediate results, but if you continue showing up, they begin to accumulate, gradually building towards something much larger than the sum of their parts. It's like planting seeds in the ground. You may not see the sprout immediately, but with consistent watering, nurturing, and care, growth happens beneath the surface until one day you look up and see a flourishing garden. Success works in much the same way. Consistency builds momentum. It may not seem like much at first, but over time, those small actions begin to compound and generate results that are far beyond what you could have imagined in the beginning. The power of consistency lies in its ability to make the difficult easier. At first, consistency may feel like a challenge. The process of showing up every day, especially when you don't feel like it, requires a level of discipline. But once consistency becomes a habit, it requires less mental energy to maintain. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. What once felt like a struggle eventually becomes automatic. You begin to rely on the routine, and your brain adapts to the behavior. Consistency over time turns into effortless action. And the work that once felt arduous now becomes a regular part of your day, like brushing your teeth or making your bed. It becomes part of who you are, and as you build consistency, one of the reasons consistency is so powerful is that it eliminates the need for constant motivation. Motivation ebbs and flows. It's fleeting, often unpredictable, and influenced by factors outside of our control. On days when motivation is high, we can be incredibly productive. But on days when motivation is low, we might struggle to get anything done. Consistency, on the other hand, doesn't rely on how we feel in the moment. It's about showing up regardless of our emotional state or circumstances. It's about doing the work because we've made a commitment, not because we feel like it. This is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who fall short. The willingness to keep going, even when it's hard, even when the excitement fades, even when motivation wanes. Consistency is what makes us reliable, and it's what allows us to keep moving forward in the face of challenges. Consistency is also the key to mastery. When you commit to practicing something consistently, you are in the process of honing your skill and improving over time. Mastery isn't an overnight event. It's the result of sustained effort, learning from mistakes, and refining your craft. Whether it's learning an instrument, building a business, or developing a healthy lifestyle, it's the daily practice that leads to improvement. At first, the progress might be imperceptible. But as you continue to practice with consistency, the improvement becomes evident. You start to notice that your skills are sharper, your knowledge deeper, and your results more refined. The gap between where you were and where you are now becomes the proof of the power of consistency. The beauty of consistency is also in its ability to create predictability in an often chaotic world. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, distractions, setbacks, and challenges. But when you've cultivated consistency, you have something to anchor you. In times of uncertainty, you can fall back on the habits and routines you've built. The actions that you've committed to become your foundation, your anchor amidst the storms of life. You don't have to question whether or not you're going to do the work. You just do it, because consistency is no longer optional. It's part of who you are. That stability allows you to continue making progress regardless of external circumstances. Another powerful aspect of consistency is that it builds your reputation, both with yourself and with others. When you consistently show up, whether in your personal or professional life, people begin to rely on you. They know they can count on you to follow through on your commitments, to do what you say you'll do, and to deliver consistently over time. This creates trust, both in yourself and in others. People respect consistency because it signals reliability, discipline, and a long-term mindset. You build a reputation as someone who is dependable and focused. And this opens doors for greater opportunities, whether in your career, your personal relationships, or your business ventures. But consistency also has a way of teaching us patience. In a world that values instant gratification, consistency reminds us that true success is rarely immediate. It's about putting in the work over the long haul, and in doing so, we learn to be patient with ourselves and our progress. We learn to trust the process and believe that over time, the effort we invest will pay off. Consistency teaches us to trust in delayed gratification, to value the journey over the destination, and to understand that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. Consistency also creates momentum, which is perhaps one of its most powerful attributes. Once you start moving consistently in the direction of your goals, you build momentum. Momentum is the force that propels you forward, making it easier to continue even when obstacles arise. When you've been consistent, it becomes harder to stop than to keep going. Each task completed, each small action taken adds to your momentum. This forward motion builds on itself, creating an upward spiral of productivity and progress. The more you do, the more you want to do, and the more you accomplish. This momentum carries you through difficult times and helps you overcome obstacles that would otherwise seem insurmountable. It's also important to recognize that consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean that you'll never make mistakes or have days where things don't go as planned. Consistency is about showing up and doing the work even when it's messy, even when it's imperfect. It's about continuing the journey despite setbacks or failures. Each mistake is simply a lesson, and consistency ensures that you keep going despite them. It's the commitment to progress, not perfection, that makes consistency such a powerful tool for long-term success. When consistency becomes a habit, it transforms your life in ways that are often invisible at first, but deeply profound. It changes the way you approach challenges, the way you view setbacks, and the way you measure success. It's not about achieving a singular goal or reaching a specific point in time. It's about becoming the type of person who shows up day in and day out, who makes progress despite adversity, and who knows that the journey is just as important as the destination.